All right, mate, let's get started, eh? So what I always try and do when putting together the week ahead is I like to always start as far out as I can, like on a monthly chart, and then just get a feel for what's happening on a monthly level, weekly level, daily level, and the 4 hourly. So generally chart up to about the 4 hourly level, and by then you'll have a pretty good idea of what's sort of coming up. Obviously, with the monthly and the weekly, it's really to get a bit of an idea of possible changes of trend, or where you might see the market going. So EURCAD at the moment, this is a monthly view of the euro Canadian dollar, and clearly we're in an uptrend at the moment. All right, we've got lower highs, we've got higher lows forming, we've got higher highs forming on a monthly level. All right, so we're in an uptrend. And you can see we're just down at the bottom of the support and resistance channel of that uptrend. Right? And you can see we sort of bounced off that, we've moved up. So what we would expect over the next couple of months is basically an uptrend to continue up until probably this yellow line here, or potentially this yellow line here. So on my charts, I'm trying to get a consistent line pattern happening, a coloring pattern. So yellows all mean based off monthly detail. And then greens are actually weekly detail. So these should all be green. I'm going to have to go through and change those. Blue is daily detail, and 4 hourly is red. So it's just trying to be consistent. And if you saw the last video on setting up a chart, you'll know that these are what we call our foundational ranges. And then the weekly data is just splitting our foundational ranges up, and things tend to hover and happen around those particular points. So you can see we're right at one now. EURCAD is right underneath a monthly support and resistance level here. You can see there's been a lot of resistance, over the course of since 2014. Every time we sort of hit this level, we haven't stayed above it long. All right, this is the only real period. So whilst we might expect this to actually move up, it's going to be sort of interesting to see what happens in here over the next month, so September, because we haven't really pushed above it much. Okay, but we can't trade off that. Like, unless you're willing to trade with massive stop loss ranges. So we could put like a buy order in here and see if it goes all the way up. But you want your stops all the way down here to give it room to breathe. So if you got in here at say 1.52 and you put your stop here at 1.47, like that's 500 pips away. All right, so unless you put in a 500 pip stop loss range, we don't trade on a monthly. We're just trying to get a bit of a picture. So at the moment, you can see that on the monthly data, we're right around this particular support and resistance line on the monthly. That's all we really need to know, and I just note that down. We're in an uptrend, right on the 1.52 resistance line, because at the moment it's resistance. And we'll see that line coming into play as we start to zoom in. So now we zoom into the weekly. Again, just trying to get a bit of a feel for what's happening in the market. So weekly, weekly is a little bit interesting. You can see that we've been in an uptrend. All right, but we're now in a downtrend. Okay, because we've got in fact, we're not in a downtrend. We're possibly forming a downtrend. We've got a lower low here. All right, and we've got a lower high. So we're in a possible downtrend forming. There's that. There's the 1.52 resistance line that we were talking about. All right, so we're right in around this particular area. But I actually think overall, if we sort of zoom out a little bit further, all right, it's more of a consolidation. That's an uptrend, all right, and this is more consolidation rather than a downtrend. Until we sort of break this level here, I just don't see us in a downtrend. We've got a little bit of a double bottom that formed here between these 2 points. Okay, so this blue weekly resistance line is holding quite well, and we've bounced off that. All right, so the weekly hasn't really told us anything, okay, other than we're in a possible change of trend, so it's a little bit uncertainty. Coming to the daily side. All right, so daily we're in a downtrend here. we had a significant retracement off that daily. You can see 50% off that range. There was the high, there's the low. We came back 50%, all right, and then we went back down again. And this range is still in play. And what does so what have we got going on here? Well, for a long period since 19th of July, we're basically in this down wave. Okay, and this was pretty much a perfect Elliott wave. All right, we had 5 major impulses. Oops, that should be up there. Okay, so impulse 1 to the downside, then a retracement, which was 2, down for 3, up for 4, down for 5. So that's what we call an Elliott wave structure. And now we've broken all of that. Okay, so that plan's all gone out the window. Once we sort of broke through this particular channel, and we broke through, as you'll see on the 4 hourly in a second, we broke through previous tops. We're now in an uptrend. Okay, so we did trade, or I traded down through here, which was quite nice. Lost a bit as the market turned. All right, and now we're looking for trades going the other way. Now we get into the area where we can actually start looking for trades, because the ranges of what we're targeting is a little bit better. So what have we got going on here? Why have I got this line and this line? What's going on here? Sometimes you've got to work out why you've got lines on your page. I don't really know what that's for. Let's get rid of it. All right, this line here is for a resistance trend line, and we should have one. Maybe that's what that one was, and it's been moved. All right, so you can see we're sort of in this new channel now.
Yep.
All right. Now, the reason why we've broken structure here is you can see this was the original downtrend. All right. What's that there? That was that downtrend. Then we had this push up, and we broke through the previous high. Okay. And that basically ended that particular run. We broke through that channel. It's ended that run. Our first point of resistance is this one here. All right, our major resistance. So you can see here back in July 2017 or 2018, 27th July. It was support. We broke through that support. We came back. We retested it three days in a row, or 12 hours. All right, and then we bounced off that. Now we're heading back towards it. All right, so I would expect this to offer some significant resistance, and you'll also notice that we've got our 61% retracement line. Okay, and that 61% retracement line is coming off that particular high all the way down to the bottom of that run. And we retrace 61%, and it's also sitting right beside that 1.25 monthly resistance level. So we've got a local resistance level on the 4 hourly at 1.5180, and then we've got another one here which is 61% retracement and the monthly level at 1.5220. So in that sort of 30-40 pips in there, we've got a lot of resistance to get through. Okay, so I'm expecting to bounce off of that and come back down. Now here's the challenge. We're right now on the 4 hourly chart, we're in an uptrend. Okay, and on the daily chart, we're also in an uptrend. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're in this sort of surge up. Well, we haven't confirmed an uptrend yet on the daily chart because we haven't broken that high. Okay, so we're looking to change trend. So that's a bit of a red flag to me, because we've got we haven't got a clear direction on the. I always, one of my trading rules is only trade in the direction of the daily and a 4-hourly.
Yep.
All right. So currently, the daily chart looks like it's turned, but technically it hasn't, because there's our previous high, okay, and we're still below it. We don't have a higher low yet on the daily, because this is just one run up. We don't have a pattern yet. So we haven't got a confirmed uptrend, though it looks like we will. So if we break into the yellow area here, all right, and the 61%, that will be a new higher high, just. All right, but then we'd have to expect a retracement back down somewhere, possibly 61. So we'd run a Fibonacci line up to here, run it back down, find out where 50 to 61% is, and then we could take that run up. So we look like we're in a buy here on the 4-hourly. On the 4-hourly, we're about to hit massive resistance, okay, and I believe we'll have a pullback from that. So I'm looking for buys at the moment. I don't, and this way, you know, trading's a little bit risky. You could look here and take a really tight sell position, all right, and so you look to sell in here.
Yep.
Right, probably over the next sort of first day tomorrow, and have some really tight stops just above it, you know, 20 pips above that sort of. So at 152.20 is the yellow line. So at 152.40, even 152, yeah, 152.40, there you go. So 20 pips, risk 20 pips, all right, and then go for the surge down. I just don't expect it to be a big surge down, simply because we're getting right up near here, 100% retracement. But again, this could form a double top. So there's a whole heap of things that's going to happen this week, and hopefully we'll get some clearer direction. But I think that's a possible trade right in there. Look for the sell, look for the down market on that, and have a nice tight stop on that. I think we'd be pretty safe. If it keeps going, then we're definitely in a uptrend. So I'm just going to note that down. All right, so H4, looking to sell at 1.5185 to 1.5220. Tight stops at 1.5240. Now, if we were to get a sell in there, I'd be looking for a rundown to 61%. So we need to work out where we're going to exit. So you with me so far?
Yep.
All right. So if we do get, let's say we do get into the trade, we need to work out where we're going to get out on the way down. Okay. So I would be looking for this run up, okay, and then a retracement for a potential run back up again, because I think we're coming into a change of trend. But the market tell us that. So let's just run a fib retracement from there, and let's say we got in right on the yellow line. All right, I'd be looking to take TP1 here at the 38 and a TP2 at the 61 here, okay, on the retracement.
Yep.
All right.
Are the only strategy you're using is just the London breakout, or are you doing other stuff as well?
Pretty much just doing this now, market structure charts. I don't do the London breakouts. I don't seem to have a lot of success with them. And again, you're reliant on, well, I suppose it's a strategy rather than somebody sending them to you. So where I'd rather be able to, because the London breakout's obviously only just the London strategy, where I want to be able to look at multiple charts and multiple timeframes.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
And I've been finding I have more success with the market structural stuff.
Yep.
And in the swipe trades, I generally just take Starboy and Swing Master. Everybody else seems
I remember you saying that last.
Yeah, they just trade way too much for my liking. All right, so TP1. what was that? Oh, that was. I'll have to wait till we work out where we get into the trade. Yeah, we have to wait till we get into the trade, but we're going to be somewhere around about the 1.5054, TP2 at 1.496. So that'd be a fairly nice trade if we're able to get in with a really nice tight stop. At 1.52, if we took it all the way down here to 1.49, like that's 300 pips. That's what I'm after. None of these 20 pip stuff on the London breakout.
300 pips. Oof.
Yeah, exactly right. So
you're going to wait. You're going to wait till you start seeing the downtrend.
Sorry.
You're going to wait to see the downtrend and then do the.
No, with this one, if I have a really, really tight stop on it, I'm willing to take a bit of a punt on that because it is such a massive resistance line. Like the monthly resistance line is huge. The 61% retracement is huge. This particular resistance line, we already know is a support and resistance line once before, you know, about 30 days ago. So I just expected to hit it here. So, you know, if we got in, say, halfway, if we got in there, and then ran the stop to there and hit our target there, you know, we're at a 7-to-1 risk reward ratio.
Yeah, wow.
250 pips with, you know, about 35 pip risk on it. So that's what I'll be watching tomorrow. And I'll be on my flight to Cairns tomorrow, so that'll be an interesting time slot. If the gap, like if we weren't at sort of like the monthly resistance and the 61% resistance, like if it was just like one, like let's just say it was just the 61, I'd wait for confirmation. I'd have a higher stop out of the way. I'd look for the actual change of trend on the 1 hour time frame, not off the 4 hour time frame, and possibly even the 15-minute to actually see some downtrend. And then I'd put in a sell stop and then just try and run with it once it's confirmed. But because it's hitting right around here, you know, we look back over time, like we haven't been above this mark for, you know, over a month, and I would expect to bounce off it. Now, if I'm wrong, well, we've got a tight stop and we're out, so it's all okay.
Yeah. 200 pips though.
Yeah, sure. You know, and well, we'll take some along the way. But even if we get in here and take some at the 50-54 mark, you know, which is a 50% retracement of the way down, or 38% of the retracement of the way down, you know, that's still 200 pips there.
Yeah.
And then there's another 100 pips down to the bottom. So it's
not bad at all.
If we're right.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right. So that's what I've marked up. Let's just go into the hourly. So from tomorrow, like once we've got the data, that's where I start going into the hourly chart. Right, and I start watching on an hourly chart. So I take these notes with me. I watch on the hourly. All right, and then what I'll be looking for is obviously that sort of push down. Now, if we come up into here, like I might even place a sell limit order on the 61 with my stop just above it. The risk is obviously it'll spike above it, stop me out, and get out. You know, that's a real pain in the ass. So that's the risk. And we could have all our analysis right, and you know, it comes into here, it spikes up, taps out our stop loss, and then plummets down for the next day, takes out 300 pips, and we're not in the market because we only had a friggin' too tight a stop loss. So that's where if I'm gonna watch the market, I'd look for really tight stops. I'd look for that sort of momentum downwards, get in the trade, have a tight stop. If I'm gonna be, you know, away from my phone, can't access it, I'd put in the stop limit and have a little bit tighter, wider range, just give a little bit more breathing room. But you don't want to give too much of a breathing room because if you're wrong and the market keeps going up, well, then you're going to be significantly out of pocket. So that's the challenge. But what I find on a Monday is not much happens in the first couple of hours anyway. You get this sort of, this is what will happen on Monday. There you go. Monday was the 23rd, right?
20th.
20th. So let's go all the way back to the 20th and see what it looks like. There you go. There's the 18th. That's the Saturday morning. There's the 20th there. Yeah, so that's all you get in the first couple of hours. So by the time we get home, that's when the market starts to open.
Right. Oh, yeah. So actually when it starts spiking is after work. So
yeah, that's right. You know, that's 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's the night trade. All right. And then you were back in the early morning again. You know.
Yeah.
And then the night trade started about here until about 3 o'clock in the morning. The other thing we're watching out for that I'm just been learning about is these impulse and flags. Impulse and flag. And now we're sort of in this nothing, right? So ideally, if we see a downward impulse and then a flag, you could take the next one if you wanted to. That'd really de-risk it. So look for the first impulse down, wait for the flag, and then take the next impulse down. That'd be less risk.
Yeah, nice.
All right, so that's the EURCAD. Let's make sure we've saved that. Yes, we have. Can't close my chart. Any questions on that? I should ask before that. Any questions on that?
No, that seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, seems straightforward. Hopefully it'll do what we want it to do.
Do you have certain pairs that you like to trade, or you're not really?
So EURCAD, EURUSD, GBPAUD, AUD USD. They're the ones I like to look at. So I'm just watching 4 at the moment.
Okay, yep.
And then I have my my trading partner here in Canberra. She was looking at some other ones, but she had a bit of a nasty week this week, so she's having a bit of a break.
Oh, that's no good.
No. So I've got to touch base with her this week and see how she's going. All right, so again, so Euro USD. All right, this is probably the most widely traded pairs. All right, very, very tight stops, which is tight spreads, which is why I like it. But on the monthly, you can see that we were in this sort of consolidation phase, and we're now looking like we're making a bit of a start of an uptrend. Okay, so we've had a nice higher high, we've had a higher low, we've now had another higher high. We've sort of come back below this. So again, a little bit of uncertainty here because, well, let me just check first. Is that an actual? There's certain rules about highs and lows. It's got to do at least 38% retracement. Okay, so if we're looking at that monthly chart, you can see on that range up. Let me just spread that out a bit.
Yep.
Oops. Okay, so there's that monthly run up.
Yep.
All right, and then it had this little pullback, but it didn't come back to the 38% line.
Yep.
All right, so that's not actually a low. So the actual run up is right up to here. All right, it's one continuous move up. Now you can see that we've passed that 38% line. Okay.
Yeah.
So once that market turns back around, and we're going to zoom in on that in a second, then we're clearly in an uptrend. So we've had a higher high, and provided we turn around, we've got a lower high. Sorry, a higher low.
Yep.
So we're now in an uptrend in the monthly, which is good. All right, moving up. And sorry, let me just go back to that monthly. I just noticed that that last candle, right, that's got a specific name to it. All right, that's called a hammer, and you can see that. I know it's not very clear. Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger. Because I've got all the lower time frame chart stuff on it. You can see that the market opened up here. It went all the way down to here. And it's come all the way back again over the month. All right. So people have been buying it in all the way back up. So it's sold off early in the month, and it's just been buying it. And we'll see this obviously on the weekly and the daily. So the weekly and the daily is going to be an uptrend. You can tell that just from the fact that there's just a wick down here. All right, does that make sense?
Yep.
So you've got something like this, you know, where it's just a massive wick down. And noting that we've got,
Yeah.
you know, just this week left, I wouldn't be surprised if this keeps pushing all the way up and you've got effectively a doji formed. So we actually finished the month where we started, where it went all the way down, came all the way back up over the course of the month. That's obviously a lot of buyers have come in, and that's because we're bouncing off this weekly support line. And isn't it amazing how we actually touched that weekly support line? Let me just move that yellow line out of the way. Look at that. That wick just came all the way down there and just bounced straight off the weekly support line.
Okay, I'm sure for that.
All right. So let's get into the weekly level. So I reckon we've just formed the new higher low here. And what we'd expect to see over the next few months is uptrend in the monthlies. So that means, you know, ideally we're looking for supporting documentation in the weeklies and the dailies for potential buyers.
Yep.
Okay, on the weekly. Right, you can see on the weekly we're in an uptrend.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we've just formed a new lower low. Okay, so this is a possible break in structure here. All right. Ideally, what we want is to have the higher high formed again off this. All right. If we come back to this resistance line and go back down, the weekly is in a downtrend. So you can see at the start of the month.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Because we've got a new lower low formed. All right. So what we want is to have a higher high formed to sort of cancel that out and reconfirm that we're in a uptrend. All right. There's the down and back up. So let's spread that out. Oops. So remember our monthly, we started at the start of the month in August, right? It was here. All right, we went all the way down. And then all last week was just all up all week.
Yeah, wow.
Last 2 weeks actually has just been all uptrend. Okay. So what we want to see ideally is to see something come above this resistance line. There's a massive resistance line here on the 4 hourly, which you're about to see. You can see it all the way through here. We need to break through that. Once we get through that, you know, we could potentially see all the way up to $1.24, $1.25.
So do you do any long trades, or is it mostly the short wins?
So I do the long trades based off the 1 hour time frame. That's why I look from here out. So I get a bit of a feel for what I think is going to happen over the next week.
Yep.
And then I look to trade within that in the direction that I think the week's going to head. So I expect the week to come up here and find some resistance. We'll see that very shortly on the daily and the 4 hourly. So I'd be looking for trades up to there. But I would anticipate that the daily and the 4 hourly are going to be downtrends at the moment, but we'll see. All right, so this is the daily trend.
Yep.
I still don't know what these yellow lines are for. So let's get rid of them. If you don't know, let's get rid of them. All right, so you can see we were in a nice downward pattern.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it probably should be over here a little bit more. All right, but we've now broken through that. We've come through the resistance. We've just hit that resistance line. What's this retracement here? Okay, so that's the range down. We've done 100% of the range back. So that would have been based off our last chart where, oh, that's right, I was looking to get in on EURUSD on a 61% retracement, which hit right around this trend line, and I shorted the market, waiting for it to go down. That's what I looked at for last week. Because, you know, we're inside this pattern.
Oh, yeah.
We had a 61% retracement hit right on the support line. And so I shorted the market, and the market kept going up. I was like, really? That's not what we wanted. All It's into the 4 hourly. So that we can get rid of that now. Right, you can see that the 4 hour is in a definite uptrend. We've hit that support resistance line. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what happens through this over the next day or two. It's going to test it. It's already tested it for the second time. If it does break out, all right, we'd expect a retracement back to it to retest it. That's when you want to get in on the buy.
Yep.
All right, so we want to see the market going up a little bit. Then we want to see it come down a little bit. All right, and that's where we want to buy. Okay, we'll probably get some bounce off here at green. That's a weekly support line. How far away is that? And you can see that's definitely within, you know, probably tomorrow's trading.
Yep.
Or maybe Tuesday. We see that on Tuesday. So tomorrow we might see the up and then a little bounce back and then into the Tuesday, looking for that retracement. So yeah, that's slightly different to the previous one where we had that really tight stop. Because what we're looking for now is confirmation that we've broken through that resistance line. It'll come back and retest it. When it retests, that's when we're looking to get in. Again, we'd have a tight stop loss just below it, because if it does come back down, then chances are it's going to continue to look to get back into a downtrend. So EURUSD, because we already said, remember we said on the daily where, and this is how all the charts tie in together, right? So on the monthly we said we're in an uptrend. All right, and we're expecting the market to sort of form that new lower low, which we think it's done. Sorry, a higher low, which I think it's done, and then we're going to keep pushing up. All right, ideally we're going to probably push up until $1.25, where we had that last significant turn. So dailies, monthly, we're looking on the uptrend. So that's what we expect. Weekly, okay, we've had this push down. We bounced off this. We're expecting this week to be a bit of an uptrend, maybe some resistance. But I can't see any reasons why, noting we bounced off the weekly again, why we wouldn't keep heading up. Daily. All right, the daily we're in a bit of a downtrend, but we've broken out of that channel. All right, but now we're just waiting for confirmation. So we're looking for a higher low to form. So we're confirmed that we're in a new trend. And then in the 4 hourly, right, that could potentially be, you know, what we're looking for here is that new higher low based off that. All right, so we've had the bounce. Then we've had that little downtrend, a little pullback. Oops. All right, and now we've got that sort of surge up again. All right, I would expect that probably would go all the way to the resistance line. All right, so that's what I'm expecting the market to do, and that's where I'm looking to take the trade.
The 1.
All right, so interestingly, on the 4 hourly, see that little pullback here didn't hit the 38, so that's actually not a downtrend. It's not a pullback. Oh, sorry, it's not a new higher low because it hasn't hit 38%. So it's actually just a straight run up.
Yeah, nice.
What we don't know yet is whether or not the run's finished. Okay. So is that the run, and then we need a pullback? All right. So that's where the market, we just got to let the market do its thing, and we've got to be watching.
Yep.
Because if that was the high based off that particular support resistance line, which it could be, then we'd be looking for a 38% retracement off that. All right. So there could be something in around here. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So we've really got to wait.
Past it, yeah, it means it's a downtrend.
Sorry?
If it goes past that 38.2%, then that's looking like a downtrend.
No, for it to go back into a downtrend, well, we're not technically in an uptrend yet, because all we've done is bounced off resistance. So we haven't really formed a new higher high, even though that's slightly higher. Like we're talking pips there, not 20, 30, 40 pips. So to me, that's just a bounce off the top.
Yep.
So for it to retain being a downtrend, we'd have to continue to have a new lower low. So it would have to go all the way back down past here.
Oh, really, Trev?
Okay. So we can say, yep, that's just a double top here. All right. And then if we have that there, then we stay inside the downtrend. But based on the daily, based on the weekly, based on the monthly, that's unlikely. Possible, but it's unlikely. I just don't expect that to happen. I think all the signs, the monthly, weekly, and the daily, all indicate we're moving into an up market. So we're just looking for the 4-hourly to confirm that. Now it may come by this being the high, getting a 38 to 61% retracement. Okay, actually a 61% retracement, or bouncing off that whatever that green line is there. We'd have to follow through and find out what that is. That would make sense. Or the market will go up to the resistance, and then we'd be looking for that 38% retracement down. If that was to occur, would that be a 38% retracement? No, only 23. Yeah. So that Euro USD is going to be one to watch. We'll let the market tell its story tomorrow. Come on, give me the tick. So that's EURCAD, that's Euro USD, GBP, AUD. So again, we'll start out on a monthly. All right, monthly looks like it's in a bit of an uptrend, starting to turn. It's bounced off that lows from back in 2017. Weekly, it's in an uptrend. In fact, it might have just broken structure here. It has. All right, so you can see we were in a bit of an uptrend.
Yep.
All right, and then we've had a new lower high, sorry, a lower low, and a new lower high, and then another lower low. So on a weekly basis, we're in a bit of a downtrend. This is where the market can sort of like confuse you. It gives you multiple signals. All right, but it's all happening around this particular weekly line. All right, we're obviously just getting a bit, market's trying to find its own direction at the moment. It's not really sure what it wants to do.
which would make you not actually want to trade with it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, so we had a lot of resistance in here. Another lot of resistance here. In fact, I'm not sure why that blue line's there. Probably would be better. Yeah, that's a bit better. And this one. So on the daily, we're in a downtrend. So we're looking for possible sells.
Yep.
On the 4 hourly. And this is pretty much where I spend most of my time is on the 4 hourly. So the 4 hour, we've got an uptrend happening. We've got a break-in structure here. So we've got a new higher low, we've got a new higher high. So we're expecting a retracement here. How far do we expect it to retrace? About 61%. So if we run that off the bottom here, run it up to the tops, all right, you can see we just touched the 61 on Friday.
And then it should go up.
That's right. So we've had this push up, we've had this little pullback. Okay, so now we would expect to have this next surge up to the weekly line. But notice how when we were talking before that in the weekly and the daily, we were looking for potential buys. Buys? No, see that's a sell because that's in a downtrend on the weekly. We can only trade off the time frame that we want though. So that's the 4 hourly for me. All right.
Yeah.
And even the daily chart, it looks like it's in a downtrend. All right, because if we get rid of that little like that, and that. Okay. We've had a lot of resistance in here on that daily resistance line.
Yep.
We ran down to here. Okay. You see, we came back to the 61% line and then we had a big push down again. So this is where, like, to me, the daily and the 4 hourly is inconsistent, so I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
All right, until the daily and the 4 hourly is the same. Because reading off this, you'd take daily, you'd be looking for sells. All right, we've had a big push down on the last day of the week. All right, so
Yep.
I'd expect something like this.
Another downtrend.
We're in that sort of impulse now. Impulse, consolidate, impulse, flag, impulse. So the daily says to me looking for a downtrend or looking for a down day, like a down candle, possibly all the way down to the blue, but ideally down to the monthly support. So that's what I'm expecting off the daily. All right, probably over this week. Boom. Then we come into the 4 hourly. And the 4 hourly says, you know what, we're in a short-term uptrend. Okay, that's fine. All right, it might uptrend to here, or that might have been the high.
And now we're going for the low.
Yeah. So, I can't tell. So I just don't know. So I just won't trade that particular time frame. Now, if we do get more downward movement, all right, we break through or hit this sort of daily line, that would indicate to me that the market's going back to resume its daily downward trend. All right, we'd wait for the flag. Okay, so we'd see an impulse down. All right, we're waiting to see an impulse down. We'll then see a little flag form. Goodness me, why is he so hard to? We'd wait to see the little flag form. All right, and then we try and take the next impulse down. But at least that way, the market's told us what it wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's a sit and wait.
That's true, yeah.
I'm just going to sit and wait to see which way. Just same as Euro USD. I'll wait to see what the market tells us in the morning. I get a sense that a lot of the markets are actually, a lot of the pairs are turning. They're changing trend. Like EURCAD's had this massive push up. Euro USD's had this massive push up. Both coming off long downtrend, and GBPAUD very similar. So there's a little bit of uncertainty going on in there. So that's all saved.
Well, the best case thing is if you don't make a trade, you're not losing money. So
Yeah, that's right.
yes, it's not a big deal if you don't.
All right, last one, AUD USD. All right, so AUD USD, again, there's that impulse flag. So possible another impulse to the downside. All right, we're definitely in a downtrend in the USD. Even though this is a short term, this looks like an uptrend, but I just think this is a consolidation period. And we've been in consolidation since mid 2015. We've just been ranging between 70 cents and 80 cents.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's it.
I remember when we were over $1. They were good times.
Oh yeah, that's when I bought property in the US.
Yeah.
On the weekly, all right, the weekly, again, this is that consolidation period. All right, but we can see we've broken out of that consolidation range to the downside. Okay, so I think we're on our way back down to 70 cents over the next few weeks.
Yeah, good.
Daily. All right, you can see we've had this push down. Basically, you can see we had this impulse down and then a flag, or like just a consolidation period. We consolidated, then we had a push down, and then we consolidated. All right, another push down, and then this consolidation. All right, and then we had this another push down. Now, the difference between this next consolidation is it was really strong coming back the other way. We hadn't seen that previously. Previously, it was just all sort of sideways.
Yeah.
All right, and we had this really strong pushback. Okay, so that's the first indication to me, like, oh, that's a bit unusual. But we're still inside this channel.
Yep.
You know, we're still inside this sort of downward channel. Oh, the other thing I marked up before was right here. So you can see here we've got a double top back on the 11th of September 2017, and now 26th of January 2018. We had this double top. So we went all the way down to here, and we come all the way back up to the same level as September 17. All right, we bounced off it. Now, double tops have a unique situation where, generally speaking, you'll see whatever that distance is downwards in terms of the range. So from here down to the very low, all right,
yep,
that's 630 odd pips, right?
Yep.
So after a double top, quite often what you'll see is that amount again, like it'll be doubled. So I ran a Fibonacci retracement to double the length of time. So there's a 100% retracement. If it comes back to here, it came back 100% of the range. 200% of the range is down here at 69 cents. All right.
Oh, wow.
Not very far from our 70-cent target area.
Yep.
All right. So that's an indication to me that we could very well hit 70 cents coming up based off that double top. All right. Plus the indication so far that we're still in this downtrend on a daily. It might take us a while, but hey, look, if we just follow that trend, we know it's going to be somewhere around about October. Coming into the 4-hourly, now we can start to get serious. What are we looking for? I think this is probably one of our best setups this week. All right, so on the 4-hourly, we had this big push down. All right, and then we had this sort of flag. We've had this push down, but it didn't hit as much. So what's the range on that? Okay, so you can see we came back 61%, we bounced off it. So that's nice.
My internet's having a heart attack.
Sorry? Sorry, mate? Did you say you're having a heart attack? Chris, talk to me, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It was just really crashing for a bit, but it's be okay now.
All I heard from you is like, I think I'm having a heart attack, and then you went silent. I went, what?
Oh, no.
The computer's having a heart attack.
Yeah, my internet specifically, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, so we had that 61% retracement up here. I'm glad you're not having a heart attack. That's good. But you know, we've basically formed this new higher low, right? Which has been unfortunate, but you know that's all right. I just think it's a bit of an anomaly. How far did that retracement come back? All right, so if we look at that particular range, all right, so it's quite weak because it came all the way back to this sort of 78% retracement. Like it wasn't a strong 61 or 50% retracement. It's pretty weak. All right, all the way down to 78.
Yep.
All right, now, so where are we now? So we're sort of pushing back up here. You can see we've got this bit of an impulse happening. So I actually went right in. So I actually expect we'll come back to this particular resistance line. And there's that downward trend line. So that's where I'm expecting the market to go, and then bounce off that and continue its downtrend.
What time is the market open? It's 7 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Can you explain to me, because I'm still a little confused, what a limit is and what a stop is? So I understand like a buy stop, sell stop, but then the limit is like, I don't know, I'm just a little confused because usually they just buy and sell stops. But I still can't
Yep. All right. So if
I'm still confused.
In this scenario, right, where I'm expecting the market to go up.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if the market's currently here and we're going to go up here, what are we going to do in this when it gets to this area here? What do you want to do? Buy or sell?
If we think it's going to continue, you'd want to buy. But if you think it's going to go down, from what we were just talking about, we think.
I've lost you again. Let me know when you're back.
I'm back.
All right. So when we're here, all right, so we're currently here in the market, right?
Yep.
Now, there'll be a whole heap of people that think, wow, well, if we can break through this, the market's going to keep going.
Yep.
That's a buy stop. All right? We want to buy it on the way, and we want the price to keep going in its direction. Okay?
Yep.
Then there's a few traders like me. They say, you know what, we'll get into this area here. We expect resistance. We're going to expect to bounce and the market to go back the other way, right? And we're going to go down, right? That's called a sell limit. So a stop means we want it to continue in the direction it was coming from. And a limit means we want it to come to a certain limit, to a certain point, bounce, and then come back down.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a limit order. Limit order means we basically want to do, because the market's going up and we want to do a sell. All right. but the market's down here. How can we sell? We want to sell up here, but the market's down here. So we've got to basically tell the system, right, I want to sell, I want to do a sell limit. So when the market makes its way back up to here, hits it, then get in the market and come back down. So if you had a buy stop, it wouldn't trigger. Sorry, if you had a buy limit, the buy limit wouldn't trigger. In fact, you wouldn't even be able to put a buy limit in. Okay.
Yep.
Probably better still, you couldn't put a sell stop in until the market is above the sell stop.
Yeah, okay, yep.
All right, so let's say that's our target price, that yellow line there, right? In order to put a sell stop in, in order to put a sell stop in, the market would have to come above it first. All right.
And then down.
And then on the way down, all right, now that becomes a sell limit, a sell stop.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Because we're catching it on the way down. All right. So limits basically mean it's got to get to your particular point and then change direction for you. A stop means you want it to continue in the direction that it's already going.
That's heaps easier. So we've done a lot of buy and sell stops. So I got the limit, and like even going through the train, like I was still a little confused. I was like, I don't really. Yeah, but that makes more sense. So a limit is where you want it to hit that mark, then go the opposite direction it's going.
Yep.
Stop is you want it to continue going until that point.
Correct. So in the London breakouts, they're all stop orders. Because the way the London breakout system works is you have the 8 o'clock candle. All right.
Yep.
You have the 8 o'clock candle. We then place buy and sell stops 10 pips above. Or even below.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a hard time tonight. All right. So whilst the market's in here, if it's going to go up, right, we want to collect it on the way. We want to buy and keep going.
Yep.
And if it's coming from here, we want to collect it on the way, and we want to sell and then keep going. So that's why they're both stop orders.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now, which one's more risky?
The limit, isn't it?
Yep. Why?
Because it's got to hit your mark and then do a 3 or a 180, as opposed to a sell stop where it just continues riding that wave down or up. If you.
Yeah. So instinct would tell you that the limit order is the most risky. Okay. But the advantage with a limit order is you can put a really tight stop in. With, a stop loss in, a really tight stop loss in. With stop orders, you've got to give it a bit of room to breathe, because market comes up, you know, it's doing its little zigzag pattern up here. We hit our trigger, right? Especially if it's around a resistance or support level, does this little trigger. You want to give it plenty of room to come back down a little bit before it continues to go up. So with stop orders, you tend to have like wider stop loss orders. With limit orders, you can have really, really tight ones.
Yep.
So we were looking today at, was it EURCAD? And I said we could potentially take a limit order. That might make more sense now as to why we could take a limit order. Let's go back and have a look at that. All right, so remember that here, this is the one where we're looking to get into this particular red zone, and I'm looking to sell. All right. I'm looking to sell off the monthly retracement and the 61% retracement down. Okay. So because the market's here, we need the market to come up, reverse, and go down.
Yep.
Is that a stop or a limit?
That's a limit.
That's right. So we're looking to do a sell limit order. All right. In here. Now the advantage of that is, that's what we were talking about before, we could put a really, really tight stop in, because if we're wrong, if it keeps going up, well, then we're out early.
Yeah.
And in fact, some traders would actually have what we call a double stop here. So it's a stop and reverse. So if it keeps going, right, well, we know we're in a new higher uptrend. The limit's definitely out. We sell off the limit, or we exit the limit, but we buy immediately into the other way. That's some pretty advanced stuff there.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Seems like you have to be watching it a lot.
Yeah, so we get in on our limit order, right, because that's going to hit first. Market keeps going up, all right, and then so we want to close out that limit order and go, okay, we were wrong by 20 pips, all right, and open up at the same time a buy order, a buy stop, and then keep running up. The risk, of course, is that you trigger your buy stop, you close out your sell, you trigger your buy stop, market comes up to about here and then goes all the way down.
You're like, ah.
Shit, I had it right the first time. So that's why sometimes, you know, you can have tight stops, but it's better to come in and let the market sort of do its thing and confirm. I would rather get in on a sell stop than a sell limit, because you're carrying momentum.
Okay, yep. Yeah.
But right now, I'm just looking for a sell. I'm looking for in here. If I've got the time and I can be in and around the market, I'll get in, and I've got, you know, price here. Because what we can do is we can break right down into the 15-minute time frame as we're coming in here, and we'll start, like you can see here, let's just say this particular pattern here, well, let's just move it, right, was this.
Yep.
All right, and so I've opened up the chart and I'm going, wow, we're inside my red zone, all right, and it's bouncing along here, all right. I go, great, I'm ready to trigger, all right. I would then go a sell stop down here, all right, with a stop loss up here, or probably even just outside that red, actually. Oh, I have a hard time saying. And a stop loss just there. All right. So I wouldn't get into the trade until it clearly come out of the red and started moving down.
Oh, yeah, Roger.
All right. But like if I was, because I'm flying to Cairns tomorrow morning, so if I'm on my flight and I'm getting ready to board the flight and we're sort of in this sort of red zone, okay, or approaching the red zone, I'd probably put a sell limit order in. Because the last thing I want to do is get off my flight and suddenly find that the market's like on, boom. And I'm like, ah, shit, I didn't put an order in. And you can't put a sell stop in if the market's below. You got to wait for it to get above.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah. Yep. Because you can't put a sell stop in if the market's down here.
Yeah.
You can only put a sell stop in below market price. Sell limits you can put in above market price.
Yep. Yeah, okay.
So that's how I'll trade that.
You wanted to reverse. Yeah.
Yep.
That same downtrend. Ah, that's heaps easier than some of the stuff I was doing a bit of research, and it's so convoluted. That was a lot easier. A limit is essentially you want it to do a 180 on itself.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you gonna cancel?
We've got a meeting with HSPO, the Hydrographic SPO tomorrow. That's who we're transitioning our project to into sustainment.
Oh, so it's defense.
Yeah, it's a Navy trip.
Oh, cool.
All right, so just finishing up AUD USD. So in the 1 hourly, you can see we've had this impulse, flag, impulse. Now we're into this sort of, again, we're in a flag. Oops.
Do you do trades over the weekend?
Sorry?
So, you know, do you leave trades open over the weekend?
Yeah, if I'm in them, yes.
Yeah.
So the market pretty much, it's got to break either to the upside or the downside tomorrow. It can't keep going in this sort of what we call a triangle. So I'm expecting the next push up, but I'm looking for sells. So even though there might be a potential buy coming in, all right, I'll let that run. But we could actually have, like, the sell could come tomorrow here, and that's fine, you know. If I'm not getting up to this point, I just simply missed the trade. But that's what I'm looking for is for it to get up there. So again, I'm expecting a bit of an impulse, retrace, and then possibly another impulse depending on the move. But it could simply just be an impulse up, hit the red zone, and away we go.
Yeah, nice. I do enjoy the fact of a company that's actually less likely to steal my money. Well, that's what I've sort of been selling it as, the trading.
Yeah. So that's it. That's my 4 charts that I'm watching, and I think EURUSD, EURCAD and AUD/USD are probably the 2 to watch. And so I'll look at these 4.
Yep.
And then I'll probably review again, say on Tuesday night after 2 days, and see whether or not,
Yep,
you know, they're moving where they should be. But I could be in the trade as early as tomorrow. So if it does go up and then it starts to move down, that's when I'll start to look at moving potential stop loss areas, target profit points, all that sort of stuff. But if this chart here suddenly just broke down tomorrow and just started, like, you know, over the first 5 hours of the day, and just we just had big white candles coming down, well, that's a completely new setup.
yeah.
Because that's obviously the high. But I would expect, you know, noticing this, you know, there's no reason why we can't get back to that.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah. But if not, then it comes all the way down to here. Well, then we'll look for possible buys off this particular support level and
Go back up, yeah.
go back up. So right now, that's what I'm looking for, the red zone.
What was the trade in that Kim was using that she was so profited on?
Stevenson Lindor.
I don't really know her last name. It was just Kim. She's the one that got you into this.
Sorry, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kim's been following a trader called Stevenson.
Oh, Stevenson. Oh, yeah.
All right. And so here we had a session with him the other day.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was teaching about this sort of impulse, flag, impulse, flag. Should have been another impulse down, but we bounced up this support resistance. So you had this impulse, flag, impulse, we're in a flag. So now expecting another impulse.
Yeah.
All right. And generally the flags will either go straight out or go in the opposite direction of the trade, of the trend. So you can see here that this particular flag, all right, and this is how this dude, I told you it was going to be a downtrend. So you had this impulse down. All right, that's what caused the flag. Then you had the breakout, and you can see the first one right there. All right, and then you've got this impulse down again. All right, and then you got this other flag. So he just looks for these impulse and flags, and he just trades those. So he just trades out of the flag.
So he's like swap trade?
Sorry?
He just teaches you how to do it, or it's like swap trades where he's like, this is the trade I'm doing?
No, he has a channel. I'll see if I can track down the channel for you. And
an IML?
Yeah, he's an IML trader. Yep.
Yeah, nice.
And so he'll see these on the 1 hourly. He'll then jump into the 15-minute time frame.
Yep.
So just looking at that section there, that was in that yellow, wherever that is. Wasn't that far back, was it?
Apparently so. Oh, there you go.
No, I didn't use arrows. I just used yellow lines. Oh, look, there's an easy way to do this. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Yeah, it's not that far ago. All right, so we're talking the 23rd of August, somewhere in there. So if we zoom in, let's zoom in that period. All right, so just in this period here, on the 15-minute, this will be waves that are forming. All right, this is how he sort of traded. This one I'm going to try this week. in my demo account. Is this period in here? Ah, let me just go back because I don't know what the problem is. This line, are you showing up on the 15-minute time frame? No, that's why I can't find you. Okay. Okay. Right, now let's go to 15 minutes. All right. So there's that little flag, right? So there's that impulse down, and there's a flag. And see how you got your own little like top, bottom, top, bottom, top. You go. So once this starts to form, and you can see where the tops and the bottoms are, all right. You know that you can place a sell stop here because we're expecting the down to continue, right? So we're looking to sell. So what he does is he'll place a sell stop order. I'll put this in another color. So he'll place his sort of sell stop 5 to 10 pips away from where this trend is currently happening. All right, and then he'll put his stop loss just above where the trend line's happening. And that's how he gets into trades. And he said if you get really good at it, no, sorry, that's a mistake. No, let me take that back. What he does is he looks to get in the market on a sell limit. That's right. After 2 or 3 tops have been formed, like here, like we've had tops here and tops there, right? With a range of bottoms. So we know that the bottoms are here. He'll look to get in. So when it makes its 3rd run up, he'll do this as a sell limit. Okay. Just underneath the yellow marker. And he'll have a really tight stop, 10, 15 pips away. All right. Because if he's wrong, he'll just get out for 15 pips. All right. Then he'll readjust these particular flag lines. And then on the 4th run up, he'll try again. And that's how he enters trades. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I was on silent. Yeah, you must do this full time because there's no way I'd be able to do this much at work.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. I'd love to, but yeah, no chance.
Yeah, no chance. I guess can you watch his? Oh no, I guess he doesn't. He doesn't do the swap trades. He just shows you what he's doing.
Nah, but in his channel, he does put out when trades are happening.
Oh. Let's log on and see.
So you can see that that's pretty much the flag there, right?
I'm not.
Okay, so come down and touched it a couple of times. All right. He would have put his buy limit in here on the way down, all right, with a stop 20 pips away. So what's the difference? He would have had to have at least had he would have had to have at least been this far away, otherwise he would have been stopped out. Okay, so that range there is 6 pips. Like on a small time frame, you think, wow, that's a big type. That's 6 pips away. So if you put your 15 pip stop loss on, you could have been just putting your buy limit order on that particular yellow thing. Even if you come down here going, oh shit, it's going wrong, stops here, and then all of a sudden, boom, just off it went.
Yeah.
You know, so you're on a 15 pip risk buying around that yellow support line, and you would have made, let's assume you got out right at the high, which is unlikely. All right, there's 71 pips there. Now, my understanding is you aim for 50 pips.
Yeah, far in.
You know, you take a big chunk of profit at 50 pips. So you got in here. You know, there's 50 pips just there.
Yeah, far out.
And
What's his name? Stevie what?
Stevenson Lindor.
Oh, yep, found him.
Now, this is a 15-minute time frame. So let's assume you actually bought on the white candle going down as a buy limit.
Yep.
All right, and we went for 50 pips, which would have happened on the large, really large one up. Would have happened about there. 4 hours, 45 minutes to make 50 pips.
Yeah, far out.
You know, and you only had a 15 pip stop loss. So with a 15 pip stop loss, you can have a good lot size position.
Oh yeah, it's in zero. It says 0.01 different.
Yeah, you don't need to do 0.01 because you're only risking 15 pips, not 30, 40 pips. So that's really what he does. Again, if you wanted to do that, say tomorrow on the buy, for example, in your demo account.
So what would you put it down as?
What do you mean?
Presume that you knew that.
Sorry, what do you mean? 1 second. Hey, Flick, how you going? I'm good. I'm just recording a video at the moment.